The orphanage stood at the edge of the great galactic station, its walls old and cold, built from forgotten metal and silent memories. Inside this place lived children from many worlds, but even in this strange mix of faces, one girl was always easy to notice. She was small, quiet, and different. Her eyes glowed softly like broken stars, and her silver hair fell around her face like thin light. No one knew where she came from. No one knew her real name. They only called her the lonely girl. Every morning she sat near the tall window. She watched ships come and go, their engines leaving bright trails in the dark space. Other children played, laughed, fought, or made noise, but she never joined them. She stayed alone, as if she belonged to another time, another world. Staff members often whispered to each other when they passed her. "Poor child," one said. "She will never be adopted," said another. "She is too strange. Too quiet. Too dangerous." The girl heard these words every day, but she never cried. She never complained. She just held her knees close and pressed her forehead against the cold glass. Sometimes her lips moved, whispering something only she could hear. "Maybe someone will come," she repeated in a small voice. "Maybe today." But no one came. Families from many species visited the orphanage. Some were tall and blue, some had wings, some had shining metal skin. A few humans came too, though very rarely. The staff always guided them around the hall, showing them playful and friendly children. When they reached the lonely girl, most visitors looked away quickly, as if her glowing eyes made them uncomfortable. Some looked scared. Others just pretended she was not there. Once, a mother from the Vega system stared at her and whispered, "Is she stable?" The staff member shook his head softly. "There have been incidents," he said. The mother stepped back at once. From her corner, the girl watched them all. She watched every face with quiet hope, but that hope sank a little more each time someone turned away. And each time it happened, the lights in the hall flickered for a second. The staff always said it was a wiring problem, but deep inside, the girl knew the truth. The lights changed because her feelings changed. Her power reacted to her sadness. But she never told anyone. She feared they would lock her in a dark room again, like they did when she accidentally made the machines hum with too much energy. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, she became a kind of ghost inside the orphanage. Always seen, never chosen. Always whispered about, never understood. Some children avoided her. Others teased her. One boy once said, "Humans will never pick you. Humans fear strange things." She did not answer. She only hugged herself tighter. Then one night, something shifted. The storm outside shook the entire station. Lightning from the nebula flashed across the sky, sending bright lines of electricity dancing over the metal walls. The orphanage lights flickered again, but this time it was not her fault. The storm was too strong, and the air was full of loud thunder that echoed through every hall. The girl sat by the window as usual, her small body pressed against the glass. But tonight she felt different. Her heart beat faster, as if something was calling her. She lifted her head slowly. Somewhere outside, a ship was arriving. She could sense it, not with her eyes, but with the strange energy inside her. It felt warm, like a soft hand touching her shoulder. She whispered, "Someone is coming," even though no one was there to hear. Footsteps echoed in the entrance hall. Heavy steps. Slow and steady. Not like the usual crowd of families. Not like the soft steps of the staff. These sounded firm, calm, almost brave. The girl turned her head slightly. Her glowing eyes reflected the stormlight as she waited, confused and curious. The main gate opened with a long metallic groan. Cold air rushed inside. Staff members hurried to greet the visitor, but their voices sounded different this time, surprised, nervous. "A human," one whispered. "At this hour, said another. Why would a human come here? A third asked. The girl pressed her hand to the window. A human? Humans almost never came to this part of the station. Why tonight? Why during the storm? Why did she feel his presence before he even entered? She closed her eyes. Her heart felt heavy and light at the same time. Fear and hope mixed inside her like strange fire. Maybe he would choose someone else. Maybe he would not even notice her. Maybe he came for something else entirely. But her heart kept whispering, look. 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 The footsteps grew louder as they moved down the hallway. Every sound echoed like a drum in her small chest. The girl slowly stood up from her corner. She had never moved toward a visitor before. She always stayed still, silent, hidden. But tonight, something inside her pushed her forward. She took one careful step. Then another. The lights flickered above her head, humming softly. But this time, she was not sad. She was scared and hopeful and confused, and the energy around her trembled like a living thing. The human reached the doorway of the main hall. The girl looked up. He looked straight at her. And for the first time in her life, she did not look away. The human man stood at the doorway, rainwater dripping from his dark coat. The storm behind him flashed bright blue, lighting his face for a moment. He looked tired, like someone who had traveled far, maybe too far. But his eyes were calm and warm. Much warmer than anything the girl had seen in many years. He didn't look left or right. He didn't glance at the playful children. He didn't ask staff questions. His eyes locked onto the lonely alien girl the moment he entered, as if he had been looking for her and only her. The girl froze. She didn't breathe. She didn't blink. She felt like the storm outside had suddenly moved inside her chest. One of the staff members rushed toward him. Sir, welcome, but you are very late. Visiting hours are over. The man wiped the rain from his forehead and said quietly, I know. The staff member hesitated. Then, why are you here? The human didn't answer. He simply stepped forward. His boots echoed on the metal floor, slow and steady. Every child in the hall watched him. Some whispered. Some hid behind chairs. Humans were rare here, strange guests from a distant world with impossible courage and fragile bodies. But this man didn't move like a fragile human. He moved like someone who had already seen too many dangerous things, someone who wasn't afraid anymore. He stopped in front of the lonely girl. She lowered her head quickly, afraid to meet his eyes again. No visitor had ever stood this close to her. Her glowing hands trembled at her sides. If her power reacted, if the lights flickered too much, he would get scared and leave. Everyone always left. But the man, he slowly went down on one knee, making himself smaller than her. Hi, he said softly. The girl's breath shook. She didn't answer. He smiled a little. It's okay. I'm not here to hurt you. The lights above flickered once. The girl flinched and closed her eyes tight. The man looked up at the flickering lights, then at her again. Don't worry. I'm not scared. No one had ever said those words to her. Her voice came out tiny. You should be. Maybe, he said. But I'm not. The staff hurried forward again, nervous. Sir, please, she is not the right child for adoption. She has issues. The girl's hands tightened. She hated that word, issues. The man didn't look at the staff. His eyes stayed on the girl. What's your name? He asked her. She shook her head. I don't have one. His eyebrows lifted, surprised but gentle. Everyone has a name. Not me, she whispered. The staff sighed. We call her subject. The man raised a hand, stopping him. She doesn't need a number. Something warm moved inside the girl's chest. The warmth scared her more than the storm. The hall became silent. Even the children stopped whispering. The man finally stood up, looking at her the same way someone looks at a small bird hiding in their hands. He took a slow breath. "Would you like to come home with me?" The girl's heart almost stopped. She stared at him with wide glowing eyes. No one had ever said those words to her. No one had ever asked her anything. No one had ever offered her a choice. "Why, me?" she whispered. He smiled a sad, tired smile. "Because you look like you've been waiting a long time for someone." Her throat tightened. She stepped back, unsure. "But, humans don't choose aliens." "I'm not other humans," he said. The lights flickered again. This time not from fear, but from something else, hope. Before she could answer, an alarm suddenly beeped behind the staff desk. A loud red warning flashed across the orphanage screen. "Access request denied, classified file opened." The staff turned pale. The man frowned. "What's happening?" The head caretaker rushed in, sweating. "Sir, please. You must leave. This girl cannot be adopted. She is dangerous." The girl's small body shook. She didn't want him to hear this. She didn't want to see fear in his eyes. But the man stayed calm. "Explain." The caretaker pulled out a hologram. It showed machines melting, walls cracking, lights exploding. All because of a small girl losing control of her power. "She becomes unstable," he said. "Her energy can destroy systems. She is not fit for family life." The hall watched for the man's reaction. Even the girl didn't breathe. But the human only said, "She is a child. Not a weapon." The caretaker looked shocked. "Sir, you don't understand the risk." The man stepped forward. "I understand risk better than you think." Another alarm blared suddenly. "Unauthorized entry detected. Level 3 security threat." Doors began to lock down. The air grew tense. Someone was coming. And they weren't coming to adopt her. They were coming to take her. "For experiments," a staff member whispered in fear. The girl's glowing eyes widened. Her hands trembled harder. She stepped back toward the corner, whispering, "They're here, they're here." The man turned to her, voice steady. "Hey. Look at me." She looked up slowly. "I'm not leaving you here." Her heart cracked open at those words. A shadow moved at the far end of the hall. Heavy footsteps. Dark figures approaching. The man reached out his hand to her. "Come with me," he said. Now. For the first time in her life, she took someone's hand. And the world around her changed. The girl's small hand rested in the human's palm, trembling like a fragile leaf in a storm. For a moment, everything around her faded, the alarms, the red lights, the whispers, the fear. She only felt the warmth of his hand. It was new. Strange. Safe. But the moment didn't last. The hall shook as the metal doors at the far end opened with a sharp screech. 3 tall figures stepped inside, faces hidden behind dark helmets, their suits marked with glowing red lines. They walked with cold purpose, not like parents searching for a child, but like hunters searching for a target. The staff stepped back in fear. "It's them," one whispered. "They found her," said another. The girl's heart dropped. She knew who they were. She had seen their shadows before. Once, long ago, before she was brought to the orphanage. They called her Subject Zero. She never forgot that name. The human tightened his grip on her hand. "Stay behind me." She stared up at him, confused. You don't even know me." "I don't need to know everything," he said. "I just know you're a child who needs help." The dark figures stopped in the center of the hall. One spoke, voice cold and metallic. "Release the girl to us. Now." The caretaker moved forward with shaking legs. "As she is not ready to be transported. She is unstable." "Silence," the figure commanded. "She belongs to us." The human stepped forward. "She belongs to no one." The hall went silent. The lead figure turned its helmet slowly toward the human. "Who are you?" "No one important," he said softly. "Just someone who won't let you take her." The girl's glowing eyes widened. No one had ever spoken for her. No one had ever stood between her and danger. She felt a strange heat inside her chest, but this heat didn't feel like fear, it felt like something waking up. The dark figure raised a metallic hand. "Move aside, human." "No," the man said. The figure stepped closer, towering over him. "Your body will break before she even cries." The man didn't flinch. "Then I will break standing." The girl gasped softly. Her small fingers clutched his coat. She whispered, "Please, don't get hurt because of me." He stepped slightly back, placing himself even more in front of her. "You're not the reason. They are." The lights above them flickered dangerously. The girl felt her power rising without her permission. Her emotions spun faster, fear, hope, confusion, anger, all mixing at once. She tried to pull away. "You should run. You should leave me. I can't control it." But the human held her hand tighter. "Then let me help you control it." She shook her head. "No one can. We won't know until we try." Before she could respond, the floor trembled. A heavy blast door slammed shut at the other side of the hall. The dark figures began moving again. The human whispered to her, "Listen to me. Look at me." She lifted her eyes. "You're not a monster," he said quietly. "You're scared. That's all." Her lip trembled. "I don't want to hurt you." "You won't." "How do you know?" He smiled softly. "Because you're trying so hard not to." Her power flickered around her fingers like small sparks. But they didn't explode. Not yet. The dark figures raised weapons. "Last warning. Leave the child." The human stepped back, shielding her completely. "I said no." The lead figure raised its weapon higher. The staff screamed and ducked behind the tables. The children cried and hid behind the walls. The girl's power surged again. Her heartbeat echoed in her ears. Then something unexpected happened. The human reached into his coat and pulled out a small glowing device, a smooth, round object that pulsed with a soft blue light. He placed it gently into the girl's hands. She gasped as warmth spread through her palms. The device hummed softly, like it was singing to her energy. "What is it?" she whispered. "A stabilizer," he said. "It helps control power surges." "Why, do you have this?" she asked, confused. He hesitated for a moment before answering. "Because I used to work with people like you." Her eyes widened. "Like me?" "Special," he said. "Different. Powerful." She stared down at the glowing device. The sparks in her hands calmed, pulling toward the stabilizer in soft waves. For the first time, her energy didn't feel wild. It felt guided. The lead figure shouted, "Stop that. Don't activate the device." The human whispered, "You're doing great. Stay close." Before she could even nod, the dark figures charged forward. The human grabbed her hand tightly. "Run." They dashed toward the hallway. The floor shook as the agents chased them, their heavy boots slamming the ground. Sirens wailed. Lights flashed. The girl's heart raced. The human pulled her through a narrow corridor. "We can make it. Just breathe." She tried. She really tried. But behind them, the agents were getting closer. The girl stumbled, fear rising again. Her power sparked wildly, making the panels on the wall crackle with electricity. The human knelt beside her. "Hey, look at me. You're okay." "I'm not," she whispered. "They'll take me. They always take me." "No," he said firmly. "Not this time." She shook her head. "You don't know what they want to do." "I don't care," he said. "You're not going with them." Her small hand trembled inside his. "Why are you helping me?" He whispered, "Because someone once helped me the same way." Before she could ask more, a shadow appeared at the end of the hall. The agents had found them. "We're cornered," she said in fear. The human stood up slowly. "Then we fight our way out." She clutched the glowing stabilizer. "I'm scared." He gave her a soft smile, even in danger. "Then hold my hand. I will be scared with you." The hallway lights burst in a shower of sparks. The girl looked at him. And for the first time, she felt something stronger than fear. She felt trust. The hallway shook again as the agents stepped closer. Their helmets glowed a deep red, reflecting off the metal walls like burning eyes. The girl felt her chest tighten. The air around her buzzed. Her powers pulsed like a heartbeat she couldn't control. The human stepped in front of her, shoulders tense, eyes sharp. He looked small compared to the armored giants chasing them, but somehow, he didn't look weak. He looked unbreakable. "Stay behind me," he whispered. The girl looked at him with fear filling her glowing eyes. "You can't stop them alone." He didn't answer. Maybe he knew she was right. Maybe he didn't care. He only took her hand again, gently but firmly, like he would rather lose his life than lose his grip on her. The agents raised their weapons, lights humming in their hands. "Subject 0, stand down," the lead one commanded. "You belong to our unit. You belong to the program." The girl's voice cracked. "I don't belong to you." "Incorrect," the agent said coldly. "You were made for us." The human turned back to her. "Don't listen to them." Her breath trembled. "But they're right. I was." "You were made to live," he said. "Not to be used." Before she could reply, the agents opened fire. Blinding beams shot through the corridor. The human pulled her behind a thick metal pillar, but the blasts hit with so much force that the pillar shook and cracked. The girl covered her ears. The noise was too loud. Too sharp. Too painful. The human leaned closer. "We're moving on my count. Ready?" She swallowed, nodding even though fear crawled inside her chest. "3, he whispered. The floor vibrated. 2, the agents reloaded their weapons. 1, run. They sprinted through the corridor as beams exploded behind them. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Pipes burst. Smoke filled the air. The girl's small legs struggled to keep up, but the human never let go of her hand. He guided, pulled, supported, like he had been doing this forever. They turned a corner just as a blast hit the wall beside them, sending pieces of metal flying. The girl tripped and fell, her powers reacting in fear. The lights in the hall flickered violently, then burst in a flash. The human grabbed her again. "It's okay. You're okay." "No," she whispered. "I'm losing control." "You're not," he said. "Not while I'm here." Her chest fluttered. His voice made her feel safe, in a way she had never felt before. But the danger was far from over. The orphanage's lockdown system suddenly activated, thick metal doors slid down in every direction, sealing off hallways. A robotic voice echoed overhead. "Security mode, active. All exit routes closing." The human muttered under his breath. We need to move faster. The girl pointed ahead with shaking hands. There, that hallway leads to the maintenance shafts. How do you know? He asked. I used to hide there, she whispered. He didn't ask more. He just nodded. Then we go. They ran again, weaving past broken panels and burning wires. The girl's glowing eyes scanned every corner like a frightened animal. She could feel the agent's presence, heavy footsteps, metallic echoes, controlled breathing. They were closing in. The maintenance hallway was darker, narrower, colder. The girl slipped through first, small and quick. The human followed, but just as he stepped inside, a heavy gate began to drop from the ceiling. He shoved the girl forward. Go. What about you? She cried. Go. She grabbed his coat, pulling with all her strength. No. I won't leave you. He looked into her glowing eyes, afraid, shaking, desperate, and for a moment, his hard expression softened. I'm not asking you to leave, he said. I'm asking you to trust that I'll get through. She didn't want to. Trust hurt too much. Trust had always broken her. But, this man was different. She let go, heart aching. He rolled under the closing gate at the last second, landing beside her with a gasp. She exhaled in relief. See, he said with a tired smile. I told you. But the smile vanished as heavy footsteps pounded toward the gate. The agents reached it and began forcing it open. They're strong, the girl whispered. They won't stop, the human replied. Because of me. No, he stepped closer. Because they're afraid of what you could become. Her eyes widened. Become, what? He hesitated. Just a heartbeat. Then he said quietly, someone powerful enough to change everything. Before she could ask what he meant, a loud metallic roar shook the shaft. The agents were breaking through. The human grabbed her hand again. Move. They ran deeper into the maintenance tunnels, pipes steaming, electricity hissing, shadows stretching over them like long fingers. The girl felt her fear rising again, climbing up her throat, making her power spark dangerously. The humans suddenly stopped. The path split into two dark tunnels. We'll have to choose, he said. The girl closed her glowing eyes, feeling the vibrations under her feet, the electric pulse in the air. Something inside her, something instinctive, pulled her toward the right tunnel. That way, she whispered. He didn't question her. He trusted her. They ran into the right tunnel. Behind them, the agents finally tore through the metal gate with a roar. Subject 0, one shouted. Stop running. But she didn't stop. Because for the first time in her life, she wanted to run toward something. Not away. And the human, still holding her hand, breath rough, pace steady, was the only reason she believed she could escape at all. The maintenance tunnel stretched in front of them like a long dark throat. Pipes hissed steam, shadows twisted on the walls, and the air felt heavy with danger. The girl held the human's hand tightly, her glowing eyes focused ahead. Behind them, metal footsteps echoed louder and louder. The agents were getting closer. Much closer. The human breathed hard but steady. Almost there. Just keep moving. The girl nodded, even though her legs burned and her small lungs hurt. She had never run this far in her life. But she didn't want to stop. She couldn't stop. Not now. Up ahead, the tunnel opened into a larger chamber full of broken machines and floating dust. It looked abandoned, forgotten by everyone except ghosts and lost children. This way, the girl whispered, pointing toward the far side. Suddenly the floor shook violently. A blast behind them. The agents had fired again. The girl stumbled forward, falling to her knees. Her hands hit the ground, sparks flew from her palms. The human knelt beside her at once. Hey, he said softly, lifting her chin. Look at me. She looked up, tears shining in her glowing eyes. I can't. I can't keep running. Yes, you can, he said. But we need to calm your powers first. She shook her head. I'm scared. So am I, he whispered. But that doesn't mean we stop. The girl closed her eyes, gripping the stabilizer in her small hand. It hummed softly, guiding her energy like a gentle tide. Footsteps thundered behind them. The agents had reached the chamber. The human moved in front of her again. Subject 0, the lead agent said. Stand down. The girl shook her head. Stop calling me that. You were created in Facility 07, the agent said coldly. You were made for control testing. For power research. You are property. I'm not property, she whispered. The human's voice hardened. She's a child. A weapon, the agent corrected. Not anymore, the human said. The agent stepped forward. You cannot protect her. You are only human. The human smiled slightly. That's more than enough. The agent raised an arm. A heavy, glowing restraint device unfolded like a metal flower. The girl's heart dropped. She remembered that device. Cold metal. Painful wires. Dark rooms. No, she whispered. She backed away, her powers stirring again. The human stood tall, facing the three armored giants alone. The girl grabbed his coat. Don't, they'll hurt you. He glanced back. Then they'll have to go through me first. The agents moved closer, forming a tight triangle. The girl's breath shook. Fear, anger, and sadness all crashed inside her like a wave. Her power pulsed violently. Sparks crackled from her skin. The human stepped back and knelt in front of her again, gently holding both her trembling hands. Listen to me, he whispered. You're not alone anymore. Her voice cracked. What if I hurt you? I trust you, he said. Do you trust me? She hesitated. Her heartbeat raced. Her chest tightened. But she nodded. Yes. I trust you. The stabilizer glowed brighter. The girl's power swirled around it, not wild, but controlled. A strange calmness washed over her. The agents saw the change. They panicked. Stop her. Now. They charged forward. And the girl stood up. Her small figure straightened. Her eyes glowed brighter than ever. And the entire chamber vibrated under her feet. The stabilizer pulsed like a heartbeat in her palm. The human whispered, You can do this. The girl lifted her hand as the agents reached them. A wave of blue-white energy exploded outward, not violent, not deadly, but strong enough to throw the agents backward across the room. Metal cracked. Armor sparked. Helmets shattered. But no one died. The girl gasped, shocked by her own control. She looked at her hands. She had done it. She had controlled it. The human smiled proudly. See? I told you. The agents struggled to get up, but their armor smoked and sparks flew from their suits, they couldn't stand. The girl turned to the human. Can we go now? Yes, he said, ruffling her silver hair softly. Let's get out of here. They ran toward a service exit at the back of the chamber. A tall metal hatch stood there, marked emergency dock access. The human entered a code quickly. The hatch opened with a hiss. A small transport ship waited inside, a dusty repair shuttle but still functional. The girl's eyes widened. That's yours? Not really, he said. But it will do. They climbed inside. The human strapped her into the seat, hands steady even as alarms blared across the station. Are you ready? He asked. She nodded slowly. Where are we going? Home, he answered simply. Her chest tightened with a feeling she didn't recognize. Hope. Warm, soft hope. The engines roared to life. The dock doors opened. Stars filled the sky. As the ship lifted off, the girl pressed her face to the window. The orphanage grew smaller behind them until it was just a shadow. The human sat beside her, breathing hard but smiling. You're safe now, he whispered. She looked up at him. What will my name be? He paused, then smiled gently. We'll choose one together. She smiled for the first time in her life. A small, bright smile. And as the ship entered human space, she whispered, I will make you proud. The stars glowed brighter, as if welcoming her home.